I'm Raul. I'm here with Cindy, and so we're gonna go ahead and get into this our discussion or whatever. But just want to let you know that if you want to support us in any way, you can support us through our YouTube channel, different tiers, or if you're in the LA area, you can come train with us, Fight Science MMA, or if you have any access to UCLA, like if you're a student or staff, or even if you live with UCLA staff, you have access to the gym and all that. So plenty of ways to train. If you're not in the LA area, you're welcome to join our online academy through our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand. Well, basically, you did make a post, but this is like kind of a topic that expands all sports or even all aspects of life as to what a woman can and cannot do. And so a big thing in sports is women can't can't do sports. Actually, sometimes some people are they just can't do it, or they can't do specific sports. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like women also link this in a bun. But my post was about female or femininity, and females should be allowed to be in male dominated spaces, which are sports, even in our context, martial arts. But I feel like it's just because it's a male dominated space doesn't mean we don't belong there. Women have been traditionally discouraged and looked down upon for participating in such things, and I feel like we should really change that narrative.
Yeah, I totally agree, because personally I feel fighting or martial arts in particular is kind of more of a neutral thing, where it's whoever has the better skill or technique can win, right? Or that's the thing where it's if someone who is anti woman doing martial arts, but then they'll run to their jiu-jitsu class saying oh, this is about the smaller person beating the bigger person. That's how jiu-jitsu is often marketed, but then they don't realize hey, that can apply to a woman as well. so to have this kind of anti anybody doing martial art is just illogical, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, because martial arts really values technique and skill over strength. So the smaller person being able to beat the bigger person. Well, guess what? Who is associated with being smaller and weaker? Women. So it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so quite often, I think so. Some of the comments that we've seen, right? Someone saying that sports is or especially martial arts is a masculine thing, and but I think that kind of it's kind of an allusion to, not allude, but it's alluding to the whole yin and yang thing, where it's they try to think yang, or it's called pronounced yang, or it's more masculine, so it's motion and strength and whatever, and yin is feminine, and you shouldn't be doing biologically, you shouldn't be doing you shouldn't be capable of doing martial arts or wrestling or those types of things, but that's kind of a misunderstanding of the whole yin and yang thing, where really it's just yin and yang is these two, it's a duality kind of thing, where it's it shows two aspects usually of a whole, right? So every being has these two aspects within themselves, so they have the whole spectrum. So regardless of who you are, if you want to do catch wrestling, or if you want to do whatever, really you can apply yourself and learn and be able to do it, actually with a great level of proficiency as well. So it's nothing to do with that. And when they allude to yin and yang, it's really, that's why they're all in the same, the yin and yang symbol, right? It's the same ball, and then they talk about how they have the two dots in the little thing. They say each has the seed of the other within them. So if there's too much yang, then it can, well, I don't want to talk about this I know a lot about this because it's part of my PhD and all that. So, but they say there's too much yang, it can be transformed to yin and vice versa. So it is not completely separate. It is part of the same spectrum that is in like everything truly. So to kind of separate things like that is just illogical as well. Do you have any thoughts on that? Or
Yeah, and you brought up like how, well, in our past discussion, how like it's more associated with like versus like feminine and masculine. It's more associated with like fullness and emptiness. But like those things are intrinsically female or male associated. So it just doesn't make sense where this comes from.
yeah. So like all these old Tai Chi masters, when they were developing Tai Chi itself, it was actually like a response to like the state religion of like Neo-Confucianism, and so then they want to try to go back to some of the more naturalistic Taoist terminology and philosophy, and they're not like when they talk about yin and yang, they don't say masculine or feminine. They talk about the aspects of it, and usually it's stuff like fullness or emptiness, and that's talking about like how you want to fight. And so using these types of pictures in your mind, you can kind of be a little bit more like, say, like still or active. These types of words are what they use when they're talking about yin and yang. They're never talking about like a man can do, this is what a man must do, or whatever, or a woman must stay home, stuff like that. That's not in any of their like Tai Chi documents where they talk about like, because there actually are tons where they talk about like Tai Chi and how to fight and this and that. They never say like a man must do this. That's like just not in there. And they talk about yin and yang and all that stuff like all the time, but it's masculine, feminine, it's just not there. Yeah. So what are some of the other like things, the comments that we've seen?
I mean, mostly the comments were positive from like everyone. When I say that, even men were supporting me, but like there was just one comment in particular saying like, oh, it's because of bone density. So like, what did you think about that?
Yeah, bone density is weird. Like it's such a weird thing because being like a physician, and actually so we're at UCLA right now, and I when I was an undergrad here, I was a trainer, and so I trained different student athletes and stuff. And one of the things that the department, so our supervisors, our bosses, would really encourage us to do is talk about bone density in particular, because and this is the rationale, is that they talk about like women just in general in different cultures, and even in our in the United States, our society, in general, they're not encouraged to be doing things like weightlifting, or we call like weight bearing exercises. And then over the years, that means like if you're not weight bearing or doing weight bearing exercises, then your bones won't be gaining density. So it's like you gain bone density through doing activity, especially weight bearing stuff. So if you spend your whole life not stressing the bones, then when you're much older, then your bones aren't going to be as dense, and then you can have all these types of like easy bone fractures and whatnot. So that's why we were encouraged to tell all the students that weightlifting is fantastic. Of course, you're not going to get bulky or whatever like that. You're just going to be stronger, and your bones are going to be denser and all that. So with that being said, even if a person is like even if a woman is a senior citizen, and then they're found to have less dense bones, if they start weight bearing exercise, like if they just go lift weights, over time their bones will become denser. So that's what happens. So it doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man doing it. It doesn't matter who's doing it. If you put a line of force through the bones repeatedly, then our body's going to say like, oh, we got to support that, and we're going to make it denser, we're going to make it stronger, we're going to make the muscles around it stronger, we're going to make the bones more dense, regardless of age, regardless of gender. So again, that's another thing that's another argument that's just illogical.
Yeah, and when we asked for sources, they don't have anything to say except their misogynistic views.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So there's like no real nothing to back it up besides this kind of yeah, their sexism or their,
Yeah.
their weird perspectives on how things should be. Yeah, but I mean, we have all these, like, in all different cultures. I mean, you have stories of women doing all kinds of, like, say, not only martial arts, but unfortunately, they had to dress up as men to fight in some wars and all that. There's like histories of different Mexican women, or different, actually even different Latina women from different countries doing that same thing and becoming higher ranked in different armies and stuff. But so it's like kind of going back to the whole point where it's just like martial arts or fighting in particular. It's like anybody really can do it, and ultimately we all have like the ability to do what we put our minds to. Did you get any other pushback, or is there anything other, like any other aspects that you didn't even talk about in that video, but like anything like anything on your mind that you want to bring up?
I didn't get to say it in the video, but I feel like my important thing was like women shouldn't be afraid to express themselves in such a male-dominated space, and that's why I really appreciate brands that like create like more feminine rash guards or like more feminine clothing for women, because we should be able to express ourselves. And like the men that get threatened are the ones calling us snowflakes. They're getting a little threatened by a little Hello Kitty girl. Okay. Like my main point was like we should be respected and we deserve to be in those spaces and we should be able to express ourselves the way we want. And it's sad that you're right, it's not limited to the martial arts community. Even like I follow the powerlifting community, but like women are discouraged from powerlifting because they're like, oh, men don't like women who look too muscular. So I was like, they assume we do things for male validation, but we don't. We do things for our own benefit.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're passionate about something, you should pursue it, even if it is powerlifting or whatever. Because so like going back to the sport aspect, it's like the Olympics. In order for your sport to be included into the Olympics, especially nowadays, the criteria is that men and women both are participating in the sport. So that's why, unfortunately, I think, hopefully correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or whatever, but I think Greco-Roman wrestling is the one that doesn't have a women's division. So I personally think it should be scrapped. And you can keep freestyle because both men and women are doing it. But Greco is, like when they started doing the Olympics again, they took French wrestling and renamed it Greco-Roman wrestling, so as an homage to the Greeks and the Romans. But that's why it's still around. And it's not catch wrestling, so I don't mind never seeing it again. Even I really don't care. Because. For many reasons, but then also the lack of inclusivity. All right, so just the point is, in order for your sport to be considered like legitimate, then you have to have like more inclusion. Anybody should be able to do it, and they should be able to do it freely if they choose, right? So that's unfortunate that. The whole thing about like women lifting weights is so unfortunate because then I think a lot of women get these weird unfounded ideas in their head and they discourage themselves sometimes from doing it. And like I was talking earlier where it's like lifting weights or doing weight bearing exercise is like so important for every human, especially if you become a senior citizen. It is vital, and actually, like, it kind of doesn't matter what age, because like, say, like the stronger your muscles are, then the denser your bones are, then even if you were to slip and fall outside, regardless of age, you can get pretty beat up if it's like on concrete or whatever. So if your muscles are strong, they actually absorb a lot of the shock of, they say, like falling down or sparring and whatever, and then the bone density will help prevent fractures and stuff. So regardless of age, you can always get pretty banged up, by accident, right? Whether we had a bunch of crazy rains last week in Los Angeles, so everywhere was slippery, and so anybody can get injured regardless of age. So that's why regardless of age, you should be doing like exercise. You don't have to be doing martial arts, but yeah, mix of cardio and weights and stuff will do wonders like as you get older or throughout your whole life, your whole lifetime, your lifespan. Yeah, is there any kind of exercise that you like or you think that's more beneficial for catch wrestling? What do you do for your what do you do for your weightlifting routine?
No, I'm gonna make it completely transparent. I believe like to get better at catch wrestling, you just gotta do it because you can do all the cardio you want, all the weightlifting you want, but like that's not. It's only gonna take you so far. But I believe that like the only way to get better at catch wrestling, you want to work on it outside, is just to keep doing it and keep building those fundamentals. But I mean, of course, cardio and like weightlifting, whatever, is like really beneficial. I see a trainer like once a week. I work a pretty physical job, so I don't weightlift and do cardio outside of that much because I don't have time and it's already pretty physically demanding. So I think I'm the exception.
No, but you actually do put the time in to lift. Like actually, you have at least one weightlifting session, and your job is pretty physical beyond that. So you end up doing a lot of. I'm sure even some of the classes that they have like some kind of like whatever, like doing some kind of burnout routine or so then there's all these different things. So it doesn't, and also too, with that being said, it's good that you kind of brought it up where it's like it doesn't have to be lifting like weights in particular. You can do all kinds of other like even like whatever calisthenic kind of things and you're doing all that stuff where all the push-ups and whatever. So you don't necessarily need to be a member of a gym. You can definitely do all kinds of great workouts like without needing to buy tons of equipment and stuff like that. So it's good that you brought it up. But yeah, that's also true. Like you definitely want to be spending time doing the actual catch wrestling to get good at it, putting in the time on the mats, right? So which you do, right? So how often do you get a chance to roll?
Unfortunately, UCLA offer us more catch wrestling classes, but we only do that once a week. Most of the time I spend it in Nogi, so I do that like at least I try to do it twice a week and then catch wrestling once a week. So maybe in total 3 times a week.
Okay, cool. Sometimes even
sometimes
more.
4.
Yeah. Yeah, so all that stuff is like really fantastic. Like because we even go to do open mats and stuff, especially like the pedigo submission fighting open mat. They're really gracious to have that every Saturday. So we roll with not only them, but like a bunch of people show up. It's become kind of popular for Saturday mornings, so people want to get some rolls in. So you can work on anything really. So it's pretty cool, like putting the catch wrestling to the test with random people. You don't know what belt level they are, and most of the time, and then it's pretty cool, right? Yeah, and we've been seeing, I think even this last weekend we saw a few women at the open mat too.
I was talking to one of them, and they're like, "This is the most women I've seen." Or like, I was so happy I was able to roll with like at least one other woman. So.
Yeah. All right. Well.
I mean, I would too.
Yeah. So, we'll keep going back though. Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like, I mean, do you feel like they were? I think they were happy, but they also kind of know that like women are discouraged, or what do you think?
Yeah, women are discouraged, and I think just women are intimidated by it. It's such a, at least lately, it's been such a conservative or like, it's very. Yeah, just discouraging, and it's a very intimidating place to be. So I feel like it's really inspiring or just great that women are showing up and showing out.
Okay, that's another good point that it's like many people are kind of getting discouraged who might not be into like some of the conservative ideas where that people are bringing to jiu-jitsu. You can totally find it on social media a lot, right? All this random stuff that they're associating with jiu-jitsu, and so I think that's that's discouraging, like both men and women. Right? We've seen some people at Daisy Fresh who are pretty political, but yeah. So they'll speak out about some of these other. In a way, like I don't want to say like don't, like you don't have to like be apolitical, because it's really difficult to be apolitical in just any scenario. Even kind of mentioned Tai Chi a few times. That actually comes from a very political stance at a horrible time in Chinese history where the country was really falling apart. So it was a political idea. But there's a lot of like maybe say like more macho type attitudes that are prevalent in martial arts and in particular jiu-jitsu. So yeah, it's really discouraging to people who just want to learn the art, right? So in this case, it's very discouraging to a lot of women, but even to many men as well. So yeah, we've been kind of seeing that a lot too. So the whole idea, even with our YouTube channel, is to make a place where people who want to learn the art, try to keep everything positive. And that's kind of the main point for even our YouTube channel. So we're going to try to keep it that way.
And if we lose people in the process of it, so be it.
Yeah, you can't please everybody. And so, and a lot of people, they might not like that we're not all aggro or whatever, but we still get those pins and submissions on people when we roll. So that's really all we care about. So any other thing that was brought to your attention? Or?
At least thankfully, the people I've been around, like even against like men, if I submit them or I pin them, whatever, at least they have a good attitude about it. So I think that's really important about our community, is that this is a safe space for everyone. At least we try to make it a safe space.
Yeah, I think so too. Like even, especially like here at UCLA, even when you submit a much bigger guy, like they're cool about it, and actually then they realize that they should be training more regularly, right? It's like so it's all about putting the time in, learning the art, learning the techniques, and then building up also like the strength and conditioning and all that. So that's really what it is. It's not like if my gender is this, then I can automatically do it. It's like, no, you can't. It's not. This fighting isn't automatically downloaded into your brain or anything, into your DNA. So no, everyone has to put the time in. Yeah, nothing else?
I was gonna say something about like self-defense, but I can't think of anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, if you want to talk about self-defense, that's totally fine.
Because like women are encouraged to do self-defense, but like, how can you encourage women to do self-defense, but also discourage them from doing martial arts?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
weird. Oh, and who are the aggressors most of the time? Not all men?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a good one, right? That's good. No, but that's another great point where it's like, it's like they say, they might tell you, right? Oh, don't do catch wrestling, but then like, go to the self-defense class to protect yourself against a man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also too, it's like, where do a lot of these self-defense techniques come from? From these different
martial arts.
So why not, wouldn't it be even better instead of just doing a couple self-defense things to maybe keep someone off you, but to actually spend even more time learning these different arts so then you'll probably get a better result, if in a self-defense situation. Right? Like if you actually spend the time to learn all the different ins and outs of defense and moving footwork and all that. So there's a lot of weird, illogical things just being thrown around. So just try to not buy into. So if you're a woman out there and you're interested in doing catch wrestling or any martial art,
or anything.
Yeah, or anything in your life. If it's something you're passionate about, really just go for it. And there's nothing that's intrinsically masculine or feminine. Every human and actually every being has this different spectrum, or the whole spectrum of abilities that you basically have to refine. So it's never you don't start off your life being a fantastic musician, right? You have to learn how to play the instrument. Same thing with all kinds of arts, like martial arts, like catch wrestling and all that. So I always like to say, except for me, I was awesome at at wrestling from day one.
Except us.
Yeah. But no, we all have to put in the time. You got to put in the work. All right. So so if you're passionate about martial arts, go for it. All right. So that's probably good enough for right now. So again, if you want to support us through our YouTube channel, we have just click on the button below where it says join. You can become a member. We've got a bunch of different videos there. If you want to become a student and you're not in the LA area, you can join us on our website. Also, if you are in the LA area, again, we're here at UCLA or Fight Science MMA. So thanks for watching, and we're here to help you elevate your grappling, and together we're going to keep real wrestling alive.